Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Fury Toys Journey to the West Sun Wukong. And I was actually looking forward to this quite a bit. I had the one from Four Horsemen pre-ordered at one point. I canceled that sucker because I don't think it was going to be very good. Is it even out yet? I don't know. If it is out, let me know if you like it. But this is the one to get if you ask me, just based on the looks alone. There's a couple other brands making characters like this, or figures like this of the same character, give or take. And I thought this was the best looking one. So this is the one I ordered, and this is what I'm reviewing. So that's what we're going to look at. There are two versions. This is the normal version. There's also a battle damage version, and that's going to be more important than I originally thought. The difference is going to be more significant than I originally thought, and we'll get into that as we do the review. But this is the standard version, not battle damage. Okay, let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before I show you the figure, I do want to show you my package. Very nice packaging. When I first saw this, I thought, oh, this is going to be a nice figure, because you rarely get excellent packaging with a crappy figure inside, but it does happen. So, also, I think in terms of packaging comparisons go, this is one of the nicest ones that I've handled, and in terms of figures go, it's a good one. It's not one of the nicest things I've looked at. We'll talk about that. But you have the nice gold and glossy image there. Bonus included. I'm pretty sure they all come with that, so I'm not sure why they're counting it as a bonus. We'll talk about that later too. But this is the outer part. It's a sleeve, but it's also magnetic, which is a strange thing. I guess they did that so that you can use it as a backdrop if you want to. I don't know, but you can. I generally would rather the money go toward the figure than the packaging, but otherwise, that's fine. And then otherwise, it's just a black. Okay, there we go. Packaging done. This guy is in stock at Big Bad Toy Store, by the way, so if you do want to get one, I'll put a link in the description below for you. And there you go. Alright, battle damage is there too. Okay, so this guy stands to the top of his head about 19 centimeters, just shy of that. That's going to make him roughly almost 7.5 inches. It's like 7 3/8. I won't count this, his head stuff, because that's not his height, so it wouldn't help with scaling. But here he is up against Darwin. So first things first, I didn't realize it was going to be that tall, and maybe it said and I didn't pay attention. I want him smaller. Sun Wukong's not known for being humongous, and so he's not going to fit into any of my collections. He'll be a standalone figure that looks cool, but even if I want to put him like next to the tiger guy, Master, I think it was Master Wang was his name, or something like that, he's gonna be humongous. He's gonna be glaringly large for who is traditionally a smaller character. So that's just a kind of a side note. If you don't care about scale, then it doesn't matter at all. But he's not a smaller, agile type character. He is a smaller, agile type character, and this is a very big figure, so it's definitely in at least 7-inch scale. But at this height, he's taller than everybody else at 7 inches. He's over 7 inches, so that's just humongous. He's gonna tower over even the McFarlane figures. So I don't know who he's like. Does this brand have their own line of figures that they expect you are only going to have on your shelf? I don't know. That's kind of an aside, but it's worth noting. I was very taken aback by his size. Okay, so let's do a question of the day. One, do you care about size, or do you just care about the figure? How often do you interchange sizes in your collection? Like, do you have 1/6 and 1/10 or 1/12 scale and 1/10 scale next to each other, 6 and 7 inch figures? What do you guys do? I tend to collect both, but I don't like mixing them. So that's why this is irksome to me. But that's not really a flaw on the figure, so we're going to move on from that. Aesthetically speaking, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of paint, there's a lot of sculpt. A lot of it is done really, really well. If you look at his face, for instance, the sculpt work in the hair is very, very nice. The mouth, the teeth, that's all good. They chose to do the eyes like this for two reasons. One, I think they were going for the same thing they did with the movie Mario figures, where it looks like his eyes are following you because there's actual depth to them. They're clear with a black hole or black paint job in there. Some people might like that. I personally don't, because most of the time it makes his eyes look goofy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You tell me what you think about that. But then they did this too. Where's my magnet? They gave him light up eyes, and I'm all for light up eyes. Typically, you want it to be the iris or the pupil that's lit up. In this case, he just has a black dot with the entire rest of his eye lit up. And I think that makes him look really strange. And I don't know how you guys feel about that, so I'm curious. Do you like the way that looks? I can turn the lights down some. It lights up nicely, but of course with the studio lighting, it's going to be harder to see. Let's see here. Can I do that? Yeah, you get the idea. I don't need to turn off more lights. They glow red or yellow, and then they actually have also a fading option. I don't know why you would want that, where they fade in and out. That seems weird to me. Red and yellow, and then off. Okay, yeah, so I don't personally care for this implementation of the glowing eyes. It's well enough executed, but I think the way they've done it is just not what I was hoping for. Again, so let me know how you guys feel about that. Okay, so aesthetically, it's good sculpt and everything. The eyes look weird, but the armor, very, very nicely done. Lots of shading and washes and paint jobs and sculpted details, and it's great. There's a lot of really good stuff going on here. The clothing, or the cloth parts on here, are not wired at all, which does... It takes away from the figure. I was expecting at this price point that they would have wire throughout, and they do kind of, and I'll talk about that when we get to the accessories, but all of these dangly parts like this and this, I want these wired. If he's going to be like jumping or using his stick or something dynamically, which you would do with this character, these parts should be wired, and they are not. And as you can see where his tail comes out, which we have to talk about when we get to the articulation, this part just doesn't look good. It needs to be wired or sculpted or softer material, something. It's not there. And then this is technically an accessory. He doesn't come with this on his head, but I think anybody who knows the character would probably want this on his head. These are also not wired. Oops, sorry, lost focus. I forgot they were skinny. They're not wired, so you use those just the way they are. You can turn them a little bit. We'll talk about that in the articulation section also, but just a few key things are missing from this guy that keep me from really enjoying the figure, and I'm going to keep mentioning those things, as not those specific ones, but different things as we go through. Because at face value, it's really, really good, and a lot of people told me it was like the best figure ever, and it looks like it could be at first glance, but the more you get into it, the less it's going to feel that way, I think. That's how I felt about it. But aesthetically, it's really, really, really nice. I love the paint job and the sculpt work, and that's great. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 for the aesthetic. I do think the eyes are a problem, and then there's an accessory problem that also hurts the aesthetic some. Depending on how you want to count points, which doesn't really matter because they're relatively arbitrary. Okay, on to the accessories. I'll get the easy thing out of the way first. He does come with a bonus, which is a little monkey soldier, I think is what they call him, and he's pretty well articulated. He's got ball hinges at his joints. You can see that. I'm not going to go through everything because it's not what you're really buying, so to speak, but yeah, ball hinges. He poses surprisingly well for a little add-on figure. Little monkey butt there, and it's nicely done, and he comes with his own little stick and a couple of alternate hands, so it's like a minifigure, which I personally would rather see that money go towards the main figure. I don't need this little, I don't even know what kind of monkey that's supposed to be, if it is. I don't need that guy personally, so as a bonus, I would rather the bonus money be applied to the figure and give me some wires in the cloth. That's my take. Alright, for feet, you do get the two sets of, the one set of monkey feet that are just standard for standing on, and then you get the shoe feet, which are pretty cool. Then you also get a couple of feet for like air poses. Okay, so that's a nice touch. It's kind of reminiscent of Frieza. You get the curled toes, that option. You get a whole bunch of hands. That's really nice, but I can't say it's everything you would need because he has no fist hands. You could argue, well, he uses his stick and stuff, but I want fist hands. You should have fist hands on somebody who is a fighting character. Alright, so no fist hands, that's a bummer. For the head, you do get a normal head. That's the main head that comes on in the package. No hole in the top for those other things, but so you get two heads. A normal one and then a one with the hole. The one with the hole is for this piece that sits on top of his head. Then you peg these into it, and that piece can spin, and then each of these can spin, but they're just tiny little pegs, and since they're not wired or really anchored in there, it's really frustrating to mess with those. But then you get 3 different face plates, and this is where one of my biggest problems with this figure is. The solicitation photos show things you don't get. That's super annoying and like arguably false advertising. It's super, super bothersome to me that you only get the smiling face with his teeth open, mouth with his lips open, his teeth closed, the slightly smirky face, and then the slightly stern face. That's it. You don't get the open mouth. You don't get the one of him eating a banana. You don't get different things that you're shown. And even on the front of the box, it shows his mouth open. In order to get the open mouth one, you have to buy the battle damage version. I think that's scummy as hell. I don't like the fact that he doesn't come with something that he should come with because they paired it with a different version. And who needs 2 of these? I'm guessing most people aren't buying both. That's my hunch, but that's very irritating that, he doesn't get this, like, scared or confused or whatever face either. There's a few different ones it showed. I'm not going to go through each one to be exact, but you get the idea. He's missing things that he should have come with, both practically and based on the solicitation photos. So having 3 fairly neutral faces bothers me. The open mouth one was something I would have been using if it was included. Alright, as far as the other accessories go, you get his big stick. It's way too big. It's not too long, but it's way too thick. This is like if you were to hold like a 2 liter of pop or soda, if you guys aren't from where I live, which you probably aren't. It's very, very thick in his hand, and that's what she said, but also that's weird. So I don't like that they made it that big. It's nicely painted, it's nicely done. It has another feature, kind of like the eyes. You have to put this together yourself, but I've already put it together to be able to show you more easily. It can light up. So you have to connect the... It's not a good design, if you ask me. It's kind of a pain in the butt. I've never even seen this sort of battery before. But the little LED thing that you have to connect to it to make it work, you just set it in there, you turn it on by pushing on it, and then you can put this cap on. And I'm not going to be able to make it look better on camera, really, because they don't look that good. Let's see if I can do it, so you can at least get an idea. Yeah, it basically just glows right here. And yeah, there's some lighting that spreads forward, of course, because this is transparent orange plastic. It just doesn't light up very well. So I'm guessing they have it made it nice and thick like that in order to accommodate this feature. It's on both ends too, by the way, to accommodate that feature. But you could have at least just done it on the end or something, because the part he grips is still really thick, and everything I say here sounds like I need to make a joke about it, but I'm not going to. I don't like the stick. Point being, I don't like it. It's awkward, it's too big, and the light effect doesn't work well. Alright, so there's that. And then we have 2 different vessels, a regular like pitcher type vessel and then the gourd type. You can actually remove the top and have it look like these things are spilling out, so that's kind of cool. And then the last set of accessories would be a cape that you can actually attach to his chest. These 2 things right here come off. You put the cape on, you peg those back in place, it holds the cape in place, but the cape is so damn big, I don't know how anybody's ever going to be able to use this. And even in their own solicitation photos, they make it look way smaller. I get the idea that it's like this big, magical, flowy cape thing, but there's no way I'm gonna spend the time trying to make that work in my display. No way. Now these other ones, and that is wired, by the way, these other ones are wired also, and these are the kind that, they're just basically ribbons, wired ribbons. There's 2 of them, one blue or whatever, teal, and one red. You can just kind of wrap those around, like in the photo on the box, or the artwork on the box. That's what that is. But even then, like, they don't put the cape on there. They never use the cape because it's a ridiculous thing. But so you can wire that around there, that green ribbon, teal, whatever color it is, and so you can do that. But those are fine. I want the regular things that are on him to be wired, not the accessory ones that I'm probably not going to use. And that's it. Oh no, I'm sorry, we have the peaches. We have 2 plastic peaches and then 1 peach that's flocked. I guess that's nice. Alright, so yeah, accessory-wise, there's plenty there, but it's missing key things and things that it should have come with for a variety of reasons. One of which would be a display stand to have him up in the air. They've given him feet for being up in the air, yet we have no display stand to pick him up. We have no faces that we should have. The stick is no good. Like, there are definitely issues for a figure that is kind of awesome. It's also shockingly not. I'm gonna go 9 out of 10 for accessories just because you do get a ton of stuff, and if you don't care about the things I mentioned, then it doesn't affect you. I'm guessing a lot of people will care about the faces and the display stand the most. And the stick is big. It's like holding a Sharpie. It's weird. Okay, moving on to the articulation. This is another thing where you would think, okay, he's a super slender monkey character. He should be able to get all kinds of crazy posing done. Unfortunately not. Like I said, these are not bendy, so that affects posing. And then nothing's wired, that affects posing. For the head that has the hole in the top, it's incredibly loose on top of the double ball peg. And that's super annoying. I can probably tighten it, but that's not what the point of the review is. It's annoyingly loose. It's not terribly floppy, but it has flopped on me a few times. But it is a double ball peg. But here's a surprising thing. I can't really get to it to show you. The neck isn't articulated, and it is incredibly long. When I first got the figure, like, he comes like this in the package, I thought, what the heck? Is mine not assembled or something? His head is so far away from his body, I thought it looked ridiculous. Look, his head keeps falling back now. The neck is not articulated. On a giant long neck like that, especially when it's going to be hidden, That's a huge disappointment for me. So the head does obviously pose around nicely on that double ball peg, but the neck doesn't, so that's going to be somewhat of a limitation. As far as a butterfly joint goes, it's tantamount to a McFarlane figure. There's a little bit of movement there, but not a whole lot. It works like a McFarlane figure, really. I can't even say Storm because he's not soft here and it doesn't have much range. So it just wiggles around. Obviously, you're going to get your rotation on the arm, and your hinge is standard. It gets decent enough range, but it's nothing special with the butterfly joint at all. And then you do get your bicep swivel. This piece, the armor piece, is a separate piece, so that can rotate. That's nice. And these guys are on double ball pegs, so they can hide the shoulder, hide the long neck pretty well, so that's nice. Double jointed elbow, there's no problem there. It's maybe not the best looking thing, but it is functional. The wrists are on ball hinges that are on a ball peg, so just like Storm, that's nice. It's helpful given that he's got these gauntlets. But I have had the joint itself separate a few times on the hands as I'm swapping out the pieces, so be aware of that. Now, just like the neck, you would probably think his torso would have tons of range. It's a pretty long, slender torso with lots of armor to hide things, and it's not bad, but it's not especially good. Like, he can't lean back any farther than that. That's it. You cannot get him to go any farther. Leaning forward, it's not bad again, but that's it, and forward is better than back, so that's nice. Side to side, they didn't account for it well enough, because this is bumping into this, so maybe the joints have the range, but you can't use it. So he does have a lot more limited range than you would expect. Rotation is fine, of course. This is a floating piece. A lot of these are floating pieces hanging from cloth and whatnot, so they're not going to get in the way. These also not wired, so it's going to be harder to handle this guy and enjoy him than you would have guessed. That's exactly what I was thinking the whole time I was messing with it right out of the box. I was like, this is not, why is this not just better in ways that it should have been to make it what it needs to be? To me, it's made to look like it has things but doesn't, so that's bothersome. But you can rotate the waist. It's on the same joint, I think, as the lower torso, and this is a separate piece, like I said. All right, for the hips, too much stuff here that doesn't actually move around as well as you would like. Drop downs with a ball peg in there. I don't know how well you can see with all that cloth. The drop is either stuck or it barely moves. I don't know. But he gets decent enough range out of the hips. Nothing crazy. Maybe if the drop can be loosened up, it'll go farther. I don't know. He can't really do the splits, but the legs go out okay. Like, it's fine. Then you get a thigh swivel, that's standard. Double jointed knee is standard. Good range there, no problems. And then for the ankle, it's a ball hinge, so you get decent enough range. No toe hinge, surprisingly, on these giant feet, which are monkey feet. No toe hinge on the boots or on the bare feet. So paint works nice, sculpt works nice, ankle rocker's okay. No toe hinge. So again, articulation you would expect on this sort of nimble character, you don't get it. And then lastly, you have the tail, which is sufficiently bendy. I had to heat his butt up really hot to get the tail to go in, and now it moves around, but I'm guessing it's going to pop out. It feels like it's not staying. Maybe it'll stay. But it is a bendy tail, and it works pretty well. Oh, another thing. His tail and some parts, like on his boot shoe feet and a couple other things, have been sticky. I don't know if it's the wash they used or what, but somewhere along the line the paint got sticky in some places. It hasn't actually transferred, but it's a thing to watch out for. It's usually the wash when you see this kind of wash, but I haven't been able to pinpoint it specifically. So his articulation, it's fine. It's not as good as you would have thought it would be. Did I say that right? I don't know if I did. It's fine. You'll be able to pose him and get him into a decent enough pose on your shelf, but it's not going to be what you want it to be. That Unkval guy that I just reviewed from Sexy Eyes poses way better than this, and he's a brick compared to this guy. This guy should have had all of the range everywhere. He's so skinny. So that's irritating. So I'll give his articulation a 7 out of 10. It's fine, but that's it. And now it's time for the final review. I'm going to give you two. I'll give you one that is as objective as I can possibly make it, such that, like, the missing faces don't bother me. If you're okay with what's in the box, I will give him an overall rating of 9 out of 10. All right? If you have the problems I have, like the stick being too thick, it's weird looking, the lights don't work well, missing faces, no fist hands, limited articulation, missing wires on things that should be wired, I'm only going to give this guy an 8, which is obviously still a good score. It's still a good figure. There's a lot to like about it, but it's not some kind of revolutionary thing that's like, oh, you need to buy this. I would recommend this if you really like the way it looks only. It doesn't pose that well. and a bunch of the accessories I'll probably never use, and I'm missing things I want. So yeah, there are things I don't care for about this guy enough that it's taking the fun away. Do you guys ever experience that? Like that Unkval thing, for instance. From Sexy Ice. I like that way more than this, and this guy should have been a way more fun figure. He's colorful, he's got all kinds of armor and accessories, like the other guy kind of does too, but this guy should have been way more fun, but he's nowhere near. So it's missing a few different features that definitely hurt it. But that's it for me. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Otherwise, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, you might want to. I have new videos just about every single day, and I do have thousands of videos already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.